Hey, buddy.
Hi, Dad.
Hey, do you, your daddy, when, he did really well with a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. You know that? He did so well, I think you have a toy for it. Do you have that, the thing with the arm that goes rawr and, you know, dig stuff off the ground?
Yeah.
Can you get it for me?
Yeah.
All right, thanks, bud. That's exactly what Daddy is looking for. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So hey, Zay.
Yeah.
Are we too strong?
Yes, we are.
I have to tell it to you guys. Shout out to everyone that plays 9 rounds of Yu-Gi-Oh! Consistently. What's going on with you guys? TheCaliEffect, king of games here. And today, we're going to be going over my second place Earth Machine deck profile. Now, just for a bit of context, I did play 9 rounds of Yu-Gi-Oh! I did not want to play that much Yu-Gi-Oh! It was a 36-man event, which means 6 rounds plus top 8, and no one ever wants to split in Vegas. So yeah, we have to do a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I have to say, for everyone grinding that many rounds of Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know how you do it. It's a reason why we don't play at events a lot. Now, I do think that this situation is fairly interesting because it is just a local top, but it's Earth Machine, a deck that I literally spun a wheel for and learned the deck in a few days and did really well with it. I think that this video is going to reinforce that I can unearth a particular strategy in this Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game. And for the people that want to know the nitty-gritty details of the entire tournament, don't worry, I will be making a locals video soon. So in this video, I'm going to be detailing an Earth Machine deck profile, budget options, as well as tell you the cards that overperformed and underperformed and give you a synopsis on how to play this deck. So if you are digging the channel, then be sure to use this backhoe? The only back I know of hoes are backs of hoes. Be sure to dig that subscribe button, but also be sure to hit that notification bell if you want to stay strong. Without further ado, let's jump on in so I can show you what exactly I played and everything in between. We're going to start off by shoveling through the Machina monsters with 1 copy of Machina Citadel. This card completely overperformed. This card not only can summon itself out of the graveyard continuously, it provides a level of protection where if your opponent does start to break your board, this card can summon itself and then break your opponent's board from breaking your board. So it was really, really cool. And again, one of the most powerful pieces, extremely easy to get into. Next is Machina Metal Cruncher. This is your main starter of the deck, one of the main starters, and the reason why it's so good, because I know it seems a little sketchy, your opponent randomly selects an Earth Machine to add to your hand, but the reason why it's so good is actually because it is a high level monster that you can normal summon, but also because if you play your ratios correctly, you're pretty much always going to be able to add the card that you need for a particular situation. So this is pretty standard, the Machina lineup that players play, but I actually go a step further by playing 2 Machina Fortress. Some players don't understand how powerful this card is because they didn't play, I think, in 2011 format or whatever, but this card is ridiculously busted. So basically it does not activate to summon itself to the side of the field. In my local level area, I really wanted to play Respect to Shadal players because, you know, that's what was going to be seen the most represented, and I didn't want to get locked out with Winda and Mechaba. Well, Machina Fortress crashes with Mechaba because they have the same attack. Your opponent can't stop the summon of Machina Fortress with Mechaba, and so their only real option is to burn an Alistair just so this card can get destroyed by battle, and then when it's destroyed by battle, you can destroy a card on your side of the field, which forces the invoked player to burn another monster out of their hand to be able to stop this card, which is perfectly fine by us because you trade this for your opponent's advantage, and then you're able to continuously summon this card or summon a different copy, which is why I run 2, and because it's easier to search, and then keep on crashing this card into your opponent's critical resources. Now, Winda is a little different. strictly because Winda is not only weaker than this card, it can't be destroyed. So if your opponent does have the Alistair the Invoker, you still have to remember that your opponent needs that Alistair the Invoker to continue on with your advantage, and your Earth monsters are practically safe because Shaddoll players don't play the Earth Invoked or the Earth Shaddoll monster. So you summon this card to your side of the field, you attack into the Winda, and if they want to race the resource, that's cool. You destroy another card on the field, and then you summon it on your following turn. You can win against Shaddolls in the Battle of Attrition. I think my opponent resolved Shaddoll Beast every single time I played it, and normally that's like their play to get them a ton of advantage, and it just does not matter. As long as you can keep summoning this card, you can get over boards. And this card also helps with so many other matchups because of the targeting effect, just because it's a hard body for your opponents to get rid of. And then when they do get rid of it, you can bring this out and then just blow up their board again. So this card's amazing. And that's the reason why I play 2 instead of 1. Easier to get with Metal Cruncher, and then also an amazing card to discard with Machina redeployment. So basically, if you discard any of these monsters, which normally is a very good idea, you can add Machina Overdrives as well as a Machina monster from your deck to your hand. And this card is essentially a reason, it's a blowout card. It allows you to destroy a machine monster to summon one of these guys from your deck. This card will get you a search. This card can provide another layer of protection. And if this card is in your graveyard, then you can summon it to your side of the field after destroying one of your machine monsters, or you can just straight up summon the Citadel. So this card is also a Pot of Avarice for your banished and in graveyard machine monsters. So this is literally the engine that makes it go. It's the strongest engine of the deck in my humble opinion. There are so many times where I want to just dig into, like, as fast as possible to get to my Machina cards. But moving on, we play Infinitrack. And the reason why the deck is so powerful is because of Infinitrack Brutal Dozer. This is the card that allows you to search into your entire engine, allows you to draw a lot of cards. You use this to pretty much out advantage your opponent. Next is 2 copies of Trencher. This card's graveyard effect to special summon a Machina monster does come up to extend. And then 1 Infinitrack Tunneler. This card is a Pot of Avarice on drugs because obviously you can keep recycling it with Machina Overdrive. So essentially, if you can get these 2 off in a game, you're not going to lose because you just out advantage your opponent. You're able to shuffle 13 cards and draw 5 cards between those 2 cards. So it's pretty ridiculous. Next is 3 copies of Infinitrack Harvester. This card is also a godsend because this plus any level 10 machine monster is a Divine Arsenal AA Zeus without having to go into your battle phase. So you can literally hard make Zeus with this card, and it searches your Dozer, so it's a starter, and it searches your other cards. And then the last card is Infinitrack Anchor Drill. What I started to do a lot was summon the Anchor Drill, summon the Harvester, make it 6, and then make them 12, and my opponent has to respect that. So you can hard make Zeus in this deck multiple ways, and your opponent really has to respect that. A lot of times players think that this card adds an Infinitrack monster during every turn. That's not true, it's just once, but that attach effect is so deadly. So far, I would have to say everything in this deck is fairly mandatory. Of course, if you guys aren't like comfortable with the double Machina Fortress, you could drop 1 copy, but everything else is pretty standard. Next, I play 2 Heavy Freight Derrickwain and 2 Super Express Bullets. So this is where the plays start to differ from other Earth Machine decks, because sometimes they'll play 2, but they'll rarely play 2 Derrickwain. So pretty much my logic is a Super Door with a Derrickwain under it. Your opponent is not going to be able to out that. It's going to guarantee you at least another turn, and that's all Earth Machine does. If it doesn't OTK you, it grinds. And not only does this card help you grind, it also helps you OTK because it does give you more targets to your Super Juggernaut Rail Cannon. I did not like miss or I didn't have a problem with opening these because if I open combo, which I play a lot of starters, it's just another card that allows me to get deeper into my combos and potentially make that Super Dora. Also, these are still high level machine monsters to ditch for your Machina Fortress. And then 2 copies of Urgent Schedule in the main board. This card was amazing. This actually helped me crack boards when going second. And then lastly is 1 copy of Ancient Gear Box. I drew this card in opening hand way more times than I should, but it's still a very, very good card because it searches all of your Infinitrack monsters or all your 500 attack Infinitrack monsters, and that's just free advantage. You can add this from your graveyard to your hand on your opponent's turn and keep searching. So for our expensive cards, we run 3 copies of Forbidden Droplets. Now, if you guys can't afford Forbidden Droplets, you can drop it for Dark Ruler no more, but Forbidden Droplets is the better card because it's quick play. I mean, I'm not even going to talk about this card, but you guys should already know we generate so much advantage. Discarding for droplets it does not matter. Next, 2 copies of Ice Dragon's Prison. If you guys can't afford Ice Dragon's Prison, you can actually drop it. I was really disappointed with Ice Dragon's Prison during the tournament. It just underperformed. I think I got it off once and it really didn't matter. This literally could have been any normal trap card and I think it would have been fine. This really underperformed in the match. And then next is 3 copies of Dynamiscus. This card overperformed. It was spot removal for magical meltdowns. It got rid of some really important cards that my opponent needed. And again, advantage doesn't mean anything. The only thing that I wish is that summoning it back to your side of the field actually meant something for this deck. Unfortunately, it doesn't. And then lastly, 2 copies of Trap Trick. I have Paleozoic Dynamiscus as targets. I have Ice Dragon's Prisons as targets. And more importantly, I have that Machina Overdrive as targets because this card will win you a game. If you can resolve this and the Tunneler, more than likely you're going to win the game. So moving on to the extra deck, since I did take up so much time talking about everything else, I'm going to just drive through this and explain like if I made it and if it was high impact. Opponents, I probably made this card maybe twice, but my opponent had to respect every single time I turned my machine monsters into 12, which, I mean, if I would have made this, I would have flat out won. So, you know, this card came up when it did, and even when I didn't summon it, my opponent had to respect it. These obviously came up, OTK the opponent. Link monsters must be an attack. So if you're playing against a Link-based deck, you just go pow, 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 and just destroy them. Next is Super Dora. This card came up a lot. Again, it's if you can, you make it in your opening play, and a lot of decks just, I don't think there's a single competitive deck that can get through this with a Duracrane. This came up a lot. This allows you to destroy multiple cards. 1 copy of Interblathner. This card's also really good. Used it a lot. I used this to get over a BLS, and I would not change it just because it's just so good. So the theory behind Big Eye was, since I play 2 Machina Fortresses, and I needed an extra slot, I didn't have anything else to put in here, I decided to go with Big Eye. I don't think it, like the time that it could have came up, it didn't, like I just went into other plays. So the jury's still out on this card. I was going to take my opponent's Shadal Winda after I negated it and then made my own board, but I was going to win regardless. So jury's still out. You can drop this for a BLS if you have it, but if you can't, there's Big Eye. Next is Infinitrack Riverstormer. This card is MVP, goated. It's the card that you use to search. Anger Knucker, Cleave4 Genius comes up a lot. This is crazy. So a lot of times going second, you can make this card, negate an opponent's card, and then if they still have more monsters than you, you can urgent schedule 2 monsters to where it points to and search another machine. This card it's ridiculous in this deck. 1 Ballista and 3 Infinitrack Goliath. This card under Zeus, you can literally make Zeus with 4 materials with this card under on your first turn, and it's really ridiculous. For the side deck, 3 Lancias. This came up when it came up. 3 Drolls. These also came up when they came up. They're okay. I feel like I could actually drop these and be perfectly fine, which I think is ridiculous. But you know, when I activated them, I ended my opponent's turn, and again, it just allowed me to out advantage them. These are infinitely better than Cosmic Cyclones in my opinion, just because I have so much advantage. I don't care about losing a card. And then there are certain back row cards like Cosmic Cyclone to my Overdrive or Ice Dragon's Prison multiple times, which actually happened to me, that I really care about. So that's way better than Cosmic Harpy's Feather Duster. 2 Dark Ruler No More. I wish I played 3 just because my last match, I bricked twice, but in the second game, I sided in the 2 Dark Ruler No Mores, the Droplets, the Lancias. I was hoping to at least draw 1 of them, and if I would have drawn the Dark Ruler No More, I think it would have been a different game. But that's the reason why I want to play a 3rd copy of this card, because BBW is really, really tough, especially them summoning that wind statue. You can't summon monsters. And 3 Gozen Match. This didn't come up in the tournament all day. I never really needed to side it, but that doesn't mean that this is not a great card. This is a phenomenal card. In the Thursday tournament, I actually played it. It came up. But now that I'm done rambling, because you guys heard a lot of ramble, let me show you exactly what do I mean about the Earth Machine deck. Also, players may be wondering what was a budget option for Zeus. This card isn't necessarily mandatory to play, just because your opponent does have to respect it even before you go into it. If they're smart enough, you make 12, they're like, okay, Zeus, I have to get rid of this card. So you can get away with not playing it as long as your opponent doesn't know that you don't play it. It isn't like a pivotal piece of the deck, but I would strongly suggest to get a Zeus as fast as possible if you really want to play this deck. But that is it for the main board and the extra deck. With the sideboard, I normally don't do that, but let me dig out this combo that I'm talking about. All right, guys, so I'm not going to cap with you since I did spin a wheel and like literally just picked this deck because it won on the spin the wheel contest. I didn't know how to play it. I genuinely did not know how to play it. I knew one particular combo that my man George showed me, so shout out to my man George. And then I just kind of branched off from there. So the combo I want to talk to you guys about requires either Machina Metal Cruncher or Infinitrack Harvester. If you draw either one of these, you have full combo, which means if you draw heavy forward, if you draw any of these 12 cards, you have full combo. So very high chance that you're going to get at least one. I don't think that I did not get a way to any of them in any particular game. So what you're going to do is normal summon your Machina Metal Cruncher, and then you're going to use its effect to be able to reveal 3 Infinitrack Brutal Dozer. And then from there, you're going to tribute your Machina Metal Cruncher to special summon your Brutal Dozer because your opponent has to add one to your hand. Brutal Dozer will use its effect to special summon your Infinitrack Trencher. Now, Trencher plus Brutal Dozer will be used for an Exceed summon, and you'll be able to Exceed summon into River Stormer using its effect, detaching the Trencher to be able to add from your deck to your hand a Super Express Bullet Train. Now from here, you can link off your Infinitrack River Stormer into your Infinitrack Goliath, and then you use River Stormer's effect to tribute the Goliath to special summon the River Stormer back to your side of the field. You're going to link off the River Stormer again. I'll explain why you do that so much into your Goliath. And then from here, I think the safest way that I did was you activate your Bullet Express Train, because even if your opponent Nibiru's you right here, you actually can still play depending on the extenders that you have in your hand. You can use Trencher to special summon Infinitrack Brutal Dozer and then continue to play depending on what you have. But you special summon Super Express Bullet Train right here. And now you use Goliath and Super Express for another link summon into your Ancient Gear Ballista. Use the effect of Ancient Gear Ballista to add Ancient Gear Box, and now Ancient Gear Box will trigger to be able to add Infinitrack Tunneler from your deck to your hand. From here, you can use the effect of Infinitrack Trencher to be able to special summon Brutal Dozer, and then Tunneler will tribute, actually, I'm sorry, you don't want to do that. What you want to do first is tribute the Ballista to summon the Tunneler, and then you'll use your Trencher to summon the Brutal Dozer. Really important to do that, because if you do it the other way around, your opponent can Nibiru you, and you won't have a way to summon your Tunneler. From here, you can link off your Infinitrack Tunneler and your Brutal Dozer into Double-Headed Anger Knuckle. And so lastly, or one of the last parts, is that you will use the effect of your Infinitrack Tunneler. You'll return the Goliath, the Ballista, the Brutal Dozer, the Goliath. And since I don't really have any other plausible cards that I would like to add to my deck, this can be left in graveyard. If you have an additional Earth monster, you can return the River Stormer, and we'll add 2 random cards. Now also during your end phase, the effect of your Super Express Bullet Train activates. You'll add the Machina Metal Cruncher from your deck to your hand, and this is how you turn 1 card into 4 cards with a Anger Knuckle in your hand. Another cool thing I want to mention is during your opponent's main phase, you can activate the effect of Anger. You can pitch the Ancient Gear Box to special summon the Super Express Bullet, and then once the bullet goes back to the graveyard, you can add the box to trigger the box's effect. Box can add a Infinitrack Anchor Drill to your hand, so this is essentially how you gain 5 cards off of just 1 card in your hand. This is so huge because, as you can see, the board doesn't look menacing, but you gain so much advantage through that one particular card that you're just able to not only outgrind your opponent, you're able to have the resources to disrupt your opponent and survive for later turns. Now, of course, guys, I'm so mean with it. I'm gonna take the exact same combo. Actually, I'm gonna do a whole nother scheme with it outside of Machina Metal Cruncher. Now, Machina Metal Cruncher is an amazing Yu-Gi-Oh card, but Infinitrack Harvester can make some serious plays. I'm gonna use Infinitrack Harvester and a Heavy Freight Duracrane as my combo, mainly because I can show you multiple combos with these 2 cards. The first combo that I love with this deck, and the reason why I decided to play multiple copies of Heavy Freight Duracrane, is that you normal summon Harvester, use its effect, chain link to Duracrane. Your opponent can't respond to the effect of Harvester with an Ash because you've already used Duracrane's effect. You can literally add any Infinitrack monster depending on the situation. I'm just gonna put Anchor Drill into my hand, and then you activate Harvester. Guess what level both of these monsters become? You make both of these monsters level 12, as now you can Exceed summon and hard make a Divine Arsenal AA Zeus that is a free board wipe that your opponent just has to respect. So I'm gonna speed through this part of the combo just because it's exactly the same as the Metal Cruncher, Harvester, Dozer, Tribute, Summon, Effect, Trencher, Exceed, Stormer, Detach, Super Express Bullet Train, Coltrane, baby. Link, Summon, Effect, Tribute, Summon, Link, Summon. Now we use that effect of Bullet Boy. I don't know, I like the card's name. Link, Ancient Gear, and the Tunneler. Tunneler, Tribute, Banish, Summon. The really cool thing about this is that, I mean, I can make these two 7, but I'm locked into Earth Machines. I can also still summon the Derek Crane and make these two 12 because I don't know. Linky boys. Summon that double-headed Anger Knuckle, and we will use its effect detaching or discarding the Ancient Gear box to special summon the Super Express Bullet Train. And since we did special summon Earth Machine, we can trigger the Derek Crane to summon itself to the side of the field, using both of these monsters for an Xe into our Super Dreadnought. So the reason why this combo is so powerful, again, we already explained that your opponent is not going to be able to break this card fairly easily. I can't think of a single meta card in Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, I guess a Kaiju, there's that could get over this card and then get over the double-headed Anger Knuckle. And also you want to detach on your turn to make this unaffected, so you can get this card back on your turn. And another cool thing is this, how much stupid shenanigans you're going to be able to accomplish. So you get the effect of Derek Crane to destroy. I completely forgot to draw Yu-Gi-Oh cards. That's how excited I was. We're just gonna say we didn't draw. And then you still get the effect of Anger Knuckle to discard the Harvester. Summon the Super Express Bullet back to your side of the field. You guys should know how this works on end phase. And as you guys can see, on your next turn, you are pretty solid. You can not only use the effect of Tunneler that I completely neglected, with your next card, you can special summon that Derek Crane back to your side of the field and then proceed to make another rank 10 play, like, I don't know, the Super Dread to attack for game. And the last thing I want to show you guys, it actually does come up when I mean a lot. It comes up a lot. I mean, there's so many ways to do this, but this is the one I feel most comfortable. It's one of the better ways in my opinion. You're going to need heavy forward, a rank 10 or a way to make Zeus is fine. Infinitrack Harvester and Super Express is what I'm going to use. I'm going to go ahead and start off with heavy forward. Oh, you also need River Stormer in your graveyard. You activate the Heavy Stormer, and I'm going to add the Infinitrack Anchor Drill. I'm also going to normal summon the Anchor Drill to special summon the Infinitrack Harvester. Now, right here, you could hard make a Zeus by making these two 6 and 12, but you're going to see something even more cheekier. What I'm going to do is use the effect of, I'm going to link off the Infinitrack Anchor Drill into the Infinitrack Goliath, and then I'm going to activate the effect of Super Express Bullet Train because I control all Earth Machine to summon itself to my side of the field. From there, I'll use the effect of Infinitrack Harvester to make Bullet Train and Harvester itself 12, using both of these monsters for an Exceed summon into Divine Arsenal AA Zeus. So it really doesn't stop here, because now I can use the effect of Infinitrack River Stormer to tribute off the Goliath, and then I can trigger the effect of a Goliath, and instead of attaching it to the River Stormer for a free search, I can actually attach it to Divine Arsenal AA Zeus. I then can follow it by using Heavy Forward to attach another piece to Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, and then, because if I want this in the graveyard, I can link it off, I can keep it on the side of the field, it really doesn't matter. But the fact remains is that this is how you get a 4-material Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, and the cool thing about this is that Zeus cannot be destroyed by card effects due to Goliath's effect. It's really awesome how this deck works, because even after you do detach the Super Bullet and this to nuke the field, you can still use the effect to add Infinitrack Harvester back into your hand, form the effect of Bullet Train, and still follow up with another play, like, I don't know, Harvester to summon, to search and pop off, and then once you link into, I don't know, your next Goliath, you can tribute it off with River Stormer to attach another material with Zeus. Basically what I'm saying is that you can keep attaching materials to Zeus to make it indestructible and keep wiping your board in that battle of attrition. Well, that is all that I have today for my second place deck profile. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I will be working on that locals video. It's going to be sauce. I don't think it'll be the next video coming out because I have a special surprise for you, but it's going to be a video very soon. Also, if you want to see more CaliEffect content, then be sure to check out these videos, as I'll catch you on the next one.